Hey friends, welcome back to She's At It Again. My name's Tanya and I'm about to make a Mexican chopped salad for this weekend. It's by far one of the prettiest salads you'll ever see. It looks like rows of a garden crop. I'll just have to show you for you to believe it. It's just so pretty and colorful. You can add the things you want to it, but I'll just kind of give you a suggestion by the way I do it. But the dressing on this is called Chipotle Dressing. You control the heat. You could get this really spicy if you wanted to. We just kind of like it a medium heat, medium spice, yeah. But it's got a lot of flavor to it, simple to throw together. If you have an immersion blender, grab that. That's what you're gonna need, that, or you could probably just shake this up in a jar as long as you have your green onions chopped finely. I just went out in the backyard and cut some green onions that I have perpetually growing in my flower pots out there, because when I buy green onions at the store, I buy organic green onions, and the little white part at the end, the part that I don't normally use in a recipe, I just plunk it in the ground and they just grow green onions. So it's nice to have those all the time. So go with me as we make the dressing first, and then we'll put together our Mexican chopped salad to have for later. Okay, we have our ingredients for the most part ready. I'm going to be using the container that came with my immersion blender. I use this a lot and I like it because it has measurement marks on this, and that's very helpful to me. The first thing we're going to start out with, first of all, I need to let you know I'm only going to make half a recipe. This full recipe makes about 2 cups and I only need about 1 cup of it because it's not going to be a big salad that I'm making this time, which is kind of unusual for this salad. But I'm only going to be making half a recipe, but I will put the recipe for the full recipe in the description. Okay, the recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup of jalapeno brine, so I'm going to use 1/3 of a cup. And this is what I'm using, these little nacho slices. Make sure I'm getting this in the picture, yeah. So just buy these at your local supermarket. If you can find organic ones, that's great. We just don't here. Live in a small town, that's what you get. If you want your dressing to be spicier, add some of the whole jalapeños to this, or add more of the brine, as well as the chipotle peppers that we're going to put in there. You'll be adding more of those if you want it spicy. So 1/3 of a cup of jalapeno brine, and I'm going to be using 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. There I go, using my mayonnaise again. Ah, man. It's not that I don't like the mayonnaise, it's just I use so much of it, I constantly have to make it. And it doesn't even take me that long, it's just a matter of getting the ingredients out. It's just frustrating. I guess I should not complain. There's a lot worse issues that could be taking place. So for me to just gripe because I have to get all the ingredients that I readily have in my house out is kind of silly. So never mind. Okay, about 1/2 cup of mayonnaise. And again, this is homemade mayonnaise. This is made with safflower oil. And if you want to know how to make that mayonnaise, which is by far the best mayonnaise you will ever eat in your life, then refer back to my videos. Hopefully we will have that video where you can click on it and refer back to it. So we'll put it in the description. All right, the next thing we're gonna need is about 2 cloves of garlic, because the recipe calls for 4. I'm just gonna use about that much garlic. So if you notice, I put the liquid part of the recipe in first because that gives me a better idea of how much mayonnaise I have, because the mayonnaise will move up to the line where I need it. So otherwise you're just kind of guessing at it if you put your solids in there first, or your gelatinous stuff. All right, so the next thing I need is about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground cumin. More or less, just depending on how you like it. I'm going to put about 1/8 of a teaspoon because I know 1/4 of a teaspoon works great in a full recipe. And these are the chipotle peppers that I use. There are several that I've seen that have some preservatives in it that I'm not real keen on. This doesn't have a whole lot of ingredients in it. I wish it didn't have just, a very small amount of sugar in this, but it does. And there's nothing I can do about it, but this is the best I can find around here. So I'm going to be adding just a bit. Now these normally come in like chunks of chipotle peppers, but these do not. These are chopped. So I'm going to be putting about, not even quite a full teaspoon in there. You can always add more, but you can't add less once it's in there. So just know, if you don't want it spicy, that's the part that might make it spicy. I'm going to plug this in, and we're going to stir this up a bit. Then we're going to add our green onions. This is not a thick dressing. Not thick like, you know, creamy or anything. I mean, it's creamy, but it's not, never mind. It's not like mayonnaise. It's more runny like ranch dressing. Okay. The full recipe calls for 4 green onions. So that's 4 full green onions, just the green parts, green tops on them. So I'm putting about 2 full green onions in there. And these are kind of fat green onions because, like I said, these were grown in my yard and they just kind of look monstrous out there. I wish the tomatoes would do that, but it's only the onions that do that. I don't know why. Okay, I'm going to puree these up. I'm not trying to get it chopped up smoother per se. I'm just trying to get most of that green onion out of the edge of the blender. If you do not have an immersion blender and you are getting interested in cooking, I would say this is probably one of your better investments you'll make, because you can get ones that are so inexpensive, and as far as I know, they all work pretty well. This one was a gift from my mother, and it's a rather nice one. It's not a professional one, like a commercial use one. Of course, those come about as big as a trolling motor. If you don't know what a trolling motor is, it's like a small version of a boat motor. It just gets you around a little slower when you're in areas that you don't need to just speed through, but it goes on a boat. But my mother used to call this her boat motor. She couldn't remember immersion blender, so she called it her boat motor. But they do make them literally about 4 feet tall, and it's to mix things in what looks like a big trash can. It's kind of funny. But these, one that's perfectly fine might run you $25 or $30. You might even find it for less than that at a store. But they are a great investment because it's not something that takes up a whole lot of room, but yet it has just a multitude of uses. All right, so that's our dressing. Let me give you a look at the top of it. Sorry for the shadow, but this is what this looks like. It's not super thick, but it is oh so delicious. Okay, so when we come back, we're going to chop up our salad and get ready to show you what a pretty salad can look like. Okay, I think I'm ready to show you how to assemble this salad. Again, this is the prettiest salad ever. Okay, I have all my ingredients laid out here just so I can have them right at hand. We're going to cut our lettuce up. This is just leaf lettuce, and I've had it soaking in the sink for a couple of days, and I've had it drying for several hours now. And then I dried it off with a lint-free towel just because dressing sticks to dry produce better than it sticks to wet produce. We don't want big chunks in this. We want small ones only because all these items are going to be in a line. It's going to be so pretty. So we want to chop it up, not super fine, but just for to lay down. You don't want any big pieces sticking up. Now, like I said, I'm making a small salad today. Normally, I would have a platter about the size of a quarter baking sheet, which is pretty large. And I would just cover this, and then we pour the dressing over, and people just kind of scoop up what they want off this. That's the nice thing about this salad. If there's something in here, an ingredient that you don't really care for, or just had rather not have in your salad, then by all means, just scoop around it and get other stuff. All right, so we're putting our row of lettuce at the end. And what we want to do is avoid having two colors that are the same. Like the lettuce and the cilantro would be the same color, and I try not to put it beside each other, not because it'll affect the taste, of course, because you're going to be eating it all, but because you can't really tell which is which. And we want it to look pretty. Okay, I want to cut up a little bit of a red onion. Not just a whole lot, because again, this is a small salad. I don't want to put too much of any one thing, except for corn. I do want to put too much corn in there because that's my favorite ingredient. I don't know why. Just the sweetness of it is so delightful in this. It's not considered too much to me, but it might just look like there's more of that than there is anything else. And there probably is if I'm making the salad. Sometimes I put black olives in this. We love black olives, but if you do not like black olives or you don't have black olives, then by all means, you can skip that part, but they sure are pretty in it. Okay, let me show you how this is looking from above. Sorry about the shadow. So we're just lining things up. All right, next ingredient is our black beans. And I cook these in the slow cooker out in the sunroom, of course. And I tried to drain them just a bit. And I do have salt in these. I didn't put salt in them when I first started cooking them. That came at the end. Because if you put salt in them, when you start cooking them, kind of prevents them from cooking very well. Okay, don't necessarily need all those. Just keep pushing your ingredients toward the back. If you have a bench scraper, you can always take that and kind of move it down like a squeegee on this. Okay, let's see what's next. A pepper. You can use red pepper, orange pepper, yellow pepper. Do not use a green pepper in this. It will not be the same. Unless you just really like green pepper, and then by all means go ahead and use it because it's your salad. But I prefer the sweetness of orange, yellow, or red peppers. Green peppers, also known as not ripe yet. And I'm serious when I say that. That's just in an unripe state. Kind of like a green olive is an unripe olive. Because ripe olives are black. If you'll notice on a can of black olives, they say ripe olives. So now you know. Okay, we have our row of orange there. Now we're going to put in an avocado. Peeled off rather nicely. This is the part of the salad I think my husband likes best. He eats avocados every day, but because they make me sick and they don't taste like anything to me, that's the part I skip over. So I just let him have them all and he doesn't even mind. All right, next thing we're going to put in is tomato. And this is an organic tomato I got at our local Good Measure Market the other day to make those BLT bombs that I did a video for yesterday. I bought 4 of them and I only used 2, so perfect opportunity to use them for this. Okay, next thing we're going to put in here is our cilantro. And I've washed this and dried it off as best I can. And you want to be sure and get a lot of stems in this. Do not worry so much about the leaves as the stems, because this is where all the flavor comes from, is in the stems. And if you don't like cilantro, by all means leave it out. It adds a lot of pretty color and it adds good flavor if you like cilantro. But if cilantro tastes like soap to you, there's definitely validity to that. You're not imagining things. It is somehow your taste receptors are telling you that this is not tasting very good. Beets taste like dirt to me. And my husband loves them, and I just can't understand it. I wish I knew what he was tasting. I wish I could experience that, but I can't because it tastes like dirt. So in the same way, a lot of people say, I don't see how you can stand cilantro. It tastes like soap, but I love it. I love it so much. All right, next thing we're going to put on there, this is our last ingredient. I'm just going to pour that frozen corn on there. Now, this will sit in the refrigerator for several hours, maybe even all day. We may not eat this for a couple of days, but this corn will thaw and it'll be perfect. And this is just super sweet organic cut corn from Trader Joe's. It's like a playground for adult cooks. We love it. All right, I'm gonna give you a look at this. Okay, that is what our salad looks like. Is that not beautiful? And if you have black olives, you'd want to put it somewhere like right in this area, just far enough away from the other black ones to where it gives it a lot of pretty color. Such a pretty salad. Okay, I'm going to turn the camera off now, and hopefully I'll remember to take a shot of this when I pour the dressing over and we get ready to serve it in a day or two.